Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team, and I am welcoming back two special guests, Laura Booker.
Hi, Yetta.
Hi. And Linda Fuzzi.
Hi, Yetta.
Hi. Yay, you smiled at me. I like it. And we started talking about the model of human behavior, DISC specifically, on a previous show. And you will want to go and listen to that show in its entirety. We thought we could do it all in one show, and it became absolutely impossible. So we're going to talk a little bit about parenting today and children, and also how it relates in relationships in general, and how that translates into your career. And we're going to start where we left off, which is talking about parenting.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. So just as a quick review, the four different models, how you can identify which area you lead with is ask yourself whether you're outgoing or reserved, task-oriented or people-oriented, and then you're going to be able to tell which quadrant you lead with, whether you lead with the D, I, S, and the C.
And the D, just a quick summary, the D would be one word that might describe them is dominant.
Dominant, doer.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the influencer, the I, would be influencer.
Yeah, influencer.
Inspiring.
Inspiring, that's right.
And then the S personality style, probably a key word is supportive and sweet. They are the sweetest people you will ever meet.
Status quo, yes.
Yes. And then we have the C personality style, or those that lead with that.
They're cautious and calculating.
Correct.
Correct.
And even if you're struggling with this a little bit, like where do I fit? I'm a bit of all of them. Well, know that we're all a bit of all of them. We all have a blend. And even if it's 50%, 51% one way and 49% the other way, kind of just go out there on a limb and grab the one that best describes you, just to get a sense of where you lead. Is that fair?
That's where you lead from, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
where you lead from.
There's actually, and if anyone wanted to contact me and find out more information, there's a little assessment that you can take. 24 questions, it's very quick and easy, and it really will identify in what order these different areas that you specialize in, and it'll help you to determine specifically what characteristics your personality style is. So I'd be more than happy to offer that.
That's perfect. And we also have workshops coming up.
Oh yeah, that's right. In November.
In November 16th, there is a half day with Dr. Robert Rome, who is the
founder of Personality Insights and president
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he is flying in specifically to Ottawa to do a workshop for us on November 16th from 1 to 4. So you'll want to register for that. And you can just go to the Dekker Team website and all the details are there. And also, or you can reach me, also we have a certification program that he's offering on the 17th and 18th, which is if you want to become extremely versed in using this in your business as a business methodology. So these are incredible opportunities.
I would even say even more that if you find that you're constantly in conflict in any type of relationship, if you're having challenges with parenting or supervising people, in any way of communicating with people, this information has transformed my life.
Mine too.
It has absolutely been the foundation and core point, which has allowed me not only to understand myself and how I operate and be okay with it, but also to be a better parent, a better entrepreneur, a better sister, friend, citizen, really, in anything I do. You know, when you walk up in the airport and you're talking to the woman across the desk and you're trying to get that last minute seat, just knowing and being able to identify what type of personality she is in order to be able to do the conversation have the conversation in the right way so that you can get out of it what you need, which is a seat on the next plane to where you're going, right? You know, if she's that D personality, well, the last thing you're going to want to do is tell her that you need the seat and that she needs. You want to challenge her in a way. Oh, I'm sure you probably can't find a seat for me, but if there's anything in your power that you're able to do, then I would I really appreciate you being able to find, just in any type of form of communication that you might be having. It's always a way to help.
Oh, it's huge. And I know in my real estate practice, especially when I first started out in the industry, I didn't have this information. I didn't understand this. And easily I could upset people with that dominant, non-detail oriented perspective in the world. Yeah. And so just by knowing it, now I will go armed with statistics and with data, even though they don't jazz me. If I know they jazz the client I'm going to meet, then I'm going to do the work. I may get Ken to assist me in pulling them because I find it tiring to even do the work. So as Ken leads with that personality style, he does more of the statistical and the data extraction process, and yet I can work within that frame when I need to, if that's what my client needs. And that's pretty interesting, whereas in the early days, I couldn't do that.
It's all about being able to identify and being responsible.
Yeah, and then taking charge of that. Yeah.
Great. So
back to parenting.
Yes.
We promised that.
Yeah.
See how, and so that's another interesting. Somebody that leads with I can very easily get distracted. Right?
The shiny
object, and it was shiny to start talking about something else. So let's talk about the parenting approach. And I know Linda has a lot to offer there because she has raised her couple of kids.
Yeah. There's probably different ways that we all work in our professional environment and then in our home. So tell me a little bit about, after you looking at this chart, what areas stand out, and then as a parent, where do you?
Oh, as a parent, if you wanted me to identify my children, definitely my eldest, Catherine, she leads with a C. Things have to be correct. They have to be done the right way. Everything has to be precise. She will work way longer than most children her age just to get her assignments done and done perfectly. It bothers her when things aren't done 110%. So, yeah, that's.
And how do you do more than 100%? And yet Catherine has figured out how to do it.
And then she would follow with, and she's very supportive with her friends and very understanding. She's very sweet.
So your style is what?
I'm S, I would say.
Primarily S.
And you're parenting a C child.
Yes.
Right? So in this particular case, we have these little charts that allow you to identify. So if you were to look here as an S parent and parenting a C child, read a couple of those areas that might help you.
Out loud.
Oh, okay. Well, strategies. I guess I would go to the strategies to deal with an S child. It says, recognize the child's need for privacy. If there's a conflict, give him or her time alone to think and ask to talk about the problem later. This child needs private time to recharge after stress. And it's interesting because it's true. I see her, and I do respect her privacy. So do not push this child into closeness. Actually, she, when she's ready, she always does approach me, and we do have that good two-way communication. In-depth explanations in a patient manner. Thankfully, I am an S, so that's something that we communicate well in that style. Give sincere descriptive praise and show appreciation for good work. Yeah.
Does that kind of sound like
it definitely sounds
your
like
interaction with Catherine?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah. And then you have another.
Gregory?
Yes.
Not leading with C.
No.
Gregory is definitely a DI.
Really?
He is he's a take charge child. He knows when he was he was 7 years old, and the classroom did what I want to be when I grow up. And there was, firemen, so forth, police officer. Gregory said he was going to be a professional hockey player or a lawyer. So
at 7.
Yeah, he knew. Yeah, and.
So how about you read a couple of those examples when you're an S parent and you're parenting a D child.
Okay. So strategies, this child needs some areas over which he or she has control. And definitely, we always offer options just to see. And he, touch wood, generally seems to go towards the correct path. So,
Except you need to give him that opportunity.
Yeah, and he takes responsibility. And we also let him know that when he takes that responsibility, he has to also accept the consequences of it too, so it makes them think beyond just the immediate action, but a bit further down.
And that drive and doer in children, if it's not channeled correctly, sometimes can end up getting in trouble, right?
Oh, for sure.
So
And
that's a great.
And that's why I think it's great to give them those opportunities to make decisions and to allow them to think for themselves at that young age, so that when they are older, when they are on their own, you have confidence in their abilities to make decisions for themselves.
Right.
So be firm, force yourself to take a stand, make strong statements and establish your authority. And that definitely, he likes to challenge, and because I am an S and he is a D, sometimes, and as he gets older too, I have to make sure that the boundaries are set and that they're established. And I think that with a D and being an S, because I started that at a young age, it's easier now to work through it. I think it must be very difficult for a parent who is an S to deal with the D, if they haven't dealt with it all the way along, to suddenly, facing a teenager who is a D, I think that
Much
would be
taller
very
than you
challenging.
probably
Yeah,
too.
that would
A
be
lot of
very
times the
challenging.
boys are like
Yeah.
towering over top
Yeah.
of you, right? Yeah.
So I think identifying that personality type when they're younger helps so much, because you can foster the kind of relationship that you need to. So it's a lot easier when they head into turbulent teen years, right?
Yeah,
But,
no, exactly.
Be decisive and stick to your decisions. That is so true. Oh my goodness. Because if I, at any point, if there's any little crack, Gregory will jump in there and say, well, what about this? He'll call me on certain
Because
things,
his eyes
which
coming
is-
in, right? His influencing character.
Which is, which is very interesting. So
Great. And Yetta, you have many children as well, right?
Well, just 2. 7
So-
grandbabies, though. So
Right.
that's
Well-
the part that makes it feel like I have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And interesting, in our home, I think I've shared before, I lead primarily with D, Ken leads primarily with C, and our son leads primarily with an I, and our daughter with an S.
Okay.
So no matter what was going on in our home, it was comical.
Always a different perspective.
Because there's 4 perspectives always coming at every situation.
Well, now, I mean, just being empowered with this information and your whole family knows it.
Yeah.
It's almost can be a conversation that you have, like your own language. Like, oh, I see there's, the I characteristic, or, oh, look, Dad's very, detailed. We have to make sure that that's, the concept of coming that way. And I mean, with all of these tools at our disposal to be able to guide us, I mean, what else could be better than minimizing conflict and creating a better environment in the family home?
And it works perfectly.
Yeah.
Like it really does create some perfection.
One of the tools I just wanted to show you yet, I don't know if you've ever seen any of these. For children under the age of 12, there are some storybooks that give little stories about how the children lead with the D, I, S, and C environment based on, and so it's a great little way to even, my daughter at age of 8 right now speaks the disc language and understands kind of the different types of personalities.
Yeah, I've used it with our grandchildren as well as our kids when they were younger. Like when
Did you use the All About Bots book?
The All About Bots book, yeah.
And understanding the little stories with the
Yep.
different robots.
And it's
Good.
amazing how it helps your kids. And so do join us at the workshops, because all this information will be available there. Plus, Laura is a certified instructor to teach all of this. So this isn't, we don't expect you to gain all the knowledge that's available in this little episode, and yet it's to give you an understanding of how we can live our lives with just a lot less conflict.
Well, and like you were
lot
saying,
more.
Linda, as a parent of teenagers going into that, teen age, right? There's also the teen book that you can do a little assessment, find out, and really be able to parent in a way. And how empowering would it be for a classroom of 30 children, and you're a teacher, to understand how all the different students communicate and
coming at it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're just joining us on the Inside Track on Real Estate, we've been talking about parenting and teenagers and kids, and how that knowing what your personality bent is and what theirs is, how effective that is in your life. And so we're going to talk a little bit on this piece about strengths and tips and keys and stuff for each of the personality styles. And also, how does it translate into a real estate purchase? How does it all fit together? Knowing who my clients are a little bit, right? Because it's quite quick to sort of get a sense, really helps in my career me to meet the needs of the client. And in your careers, it would do exactly the same thing with your coworker, the person that lives in the office next door. Knowing who they are would dramatically change your interactions with them in a positive way.
Like if you were selling a property to an I personality versus a C personality, you're going to approach it very differently, aren't you, Yetta?
Absolutely. If it's somebody that leads with I, it's all going to be about the fun they can have in the house, the entertaining. We're going to talk about the house from a concept of influence and enjoyment and pleasure
and how quickly they can get to places
and all of that, right? And who's going to be able to come over, because it's a lot about the who's in their world. And if I'm dealing with somebody that leads with C, I'm going to worry a lot more or present a lot more about exactly which homes sold and for how much they sold for and how quickly they sold and the statistical information in the community and the crime rates in the community.
The heating bills,
taxes,
and
calling the police department to sort of get an overview of what's happening in that community, development in that community, anything to do with details. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So if I was to give you a couple secrets for each of the personalities, would you like that?
I think would you like that? I bet you would like that. So Laura's going to share a couple of secrets for all four.
That's right. So let me just give you a couple key concepts and just review for those of you who are just joining us on this episode and didn't get to see the others. So
we'll go back and watch the other if you didn't, though.
Yes. Okay. The strengths of a D. They're strong-willed, determined, independent, optimistic, practical, productive, decisive, leader, and they're confident. Okay? So one of the key concepts about a D is the strengths pushed to an extreme can become a weakness.
Absolutely.
So you can see how somebody determined, not taking into consideration and just going steadfast forward and not maybe considering other areas could become a weakness in some way, right?
Absolutely.
So one of the quick little...
I've had that experience.
Oh, have you? Okay. Because out of control, a D. So a lot of times our personalities are in a regular everyday situation can be very well managed. But out of control, when you're put into a stressful situation, a D could seem reckless, rude, impatient, pushy, dictatorial, offensive, arrogant, abrasive, ruthless. Those are very harsh, big words. But for instance, my S sister,
I have an S sister too.
She says those things about me, and I'm like, really? I really am not coming from that. But in that situation, when you're sisters, because sisters can say what they want to each other and still love each other the next minute, right? But she often says some of those words, and I'm like, no, I'm just confident, and I know where I'm coming from, and direct that way. Have you had that experience?
Oh, yeah. It's funny because I'm thinking of Catherine and Gregory, and Catherine has identified those things very clearly to Gregory.
Oh, see? Yeah, there you go. Isn't that
15
interesting?
and 13, yeah.
Yeah, so a little secret for a D. Before you can be in authority, you must first learn to be under authority. Isn't that a great little tip? So the Ds, if we didn't have them, the world wouldn't turn. Right? Like they're the leaders, they're the ones that are going to push the bushes out of the way to allow the troops to come through. So just making sure that they're able to be in authority.
Under authority.
Under authority.
And then they can be in authority. Because that is something I've had to learn.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I didn't have a clue what that was.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
And as I got older and more mature and had a few interesting experiences and difficult conversations, and you get to the point where you recognize that unless I'm under authority first, it doesn't work.
That's right.
So that's really cool. What about the eyes? Tips for the eyes.
Okay, let's go a couple.
The influencers.
The influencers themselves. Okay, the strengths of the eyes. They're friendly, compassionate, carefree, talkative, outgoing, enthusiastic, warm, personable, and fun.
You are, honey.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. But out of control, this is what happens. They can seem unrealistic, manipulative, emotional, gossipy, unfocused, excitable, daydreamer, purposeless, all over the place, basically.
Anything that's shiny will catch their attention, and they're off. I have a high eye son, and there's always the joke because there's a squirrel somewhere, and he'll find it.
Yep.
And it'll take his attention.
So those, that type of personality, the I, their little secret tip is, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. So that's a great area of looking at for the I, the influencer type of personality. And for the S, Linda, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, for your secret tip?
Okay.
All right, so the strengths: calm, dependable, easygoing, trustworthy, efficient, practical, diplomatic, and humorous.
I like that.
You like that?
You are all
Okay,
that.
but out of control. All right.
Okay, now let's take you out of control.
All right. If an S does get out of control, here we go. Dependent, used by others. People will step on you and take uncommunicative. I can't say the word.
Uncommunicative.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Hey, we can do that together.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Inflexible, resistant to change, right? Easily manipulative, slow, and resentful. I have an S mother, so these words are very, very. I see
When she's out
when
of
my
control.
mom's out of control. She is not going to change. Like, forget it. Do any of those words relate to you?
I can see how it's funny because I recognize that when I'm becoming resentful about something, then I do have to force myself to talk about it because that's the only way. Yeah, that's the only way it'll be resolved. And yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
Linda's learned a lot in her
Yeah.
years too, right? As she said, experience helps, right?
does. Oh, for
I'm sure if the
I
same.
feel so blessed that I was able to get this information at a younger age and be able to share it and empower and be there. And that's one of the beautiful things about this and why I became a trainer in the DISC model of human behavior is because I want to share this knowledge with others so that they can be empowered to be able to do it. So your secret tip, are you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. You may actually help people by saying no.
We're happy she said yes to the show.
Yes,
I'm sure she's thinking right now.
She's like,
I wanted to say
Why
no.
did I have to be in here?
And Yetta's dominant behavior ensured I was going to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wanted to support you in your show.
Oh, see, there you go.
And support all of the folks that are listening, right?
for
Because
sure.
it's such a great learning opportunity to actually see it in progress, not just hear tell of it, and actually to watch the different personalities
it's just-
interact. I'm
It's
sure
like
we're
a new-
hilarious.
It's like a new knowledge
Yeah.
of when you're able to observe it in other people, for sure. So let's give the C's their little secret tip.
Yes,
I'm sure they've
let's.
already done all the research behind it before they watch the second show.
And
anyway,
they're more skeptical, so they probably don't have a harder time believing the whole
yes.
concept to start with. It's
I
pretty
had a page
awesome.
of reports that came to me from my my C friend that said, all the areas of how this can help or not help.
Yeah, I've received a few of those too.
Yeah, exactly. So the strengths of a C characteristic: gifted, analytical, sensitive, perfectionist, idealistic, loyal, self-sacrificing, and thorough.
Absolutely. They
Very
so
thorough.
are.
That's what Ken's doing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Being very thorough.
Being very thorough.
Okay. But out of control, a few words: compulsive, critical, unsociable, prying, easily offended, fearful, inflexible, doubtful, worrisome, and picky. So, the C personality's little secret tip is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
And that's an important piece. And I'm sure Catherine has to take that in consideration.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know
that
Ken
is,
does.
That is a phrase at our house too.
Oh, is it? So, interesting. Very interesting.
People don't care how much you know
Until they know you care.
until they know you care.
So it's bringing kind of the people side into the C characteristic, because a lot of the C character, it's task. It's about research. It's about what's right and wrong. It's the process. It's strategy. It's systemized. And a lot of times the emotion and the feelings and caring of others doesn't really come into it.
Yeah. So this has been pretty interesting. I love how we've been able to just display the realities of the different personality styles. It's probably my favorite part of this. Thank you, Laura.
Well, my favorite part is how it's so diverse. How you can apply it to anything, to buying a home, to parenting, to teaching, to business, to communication, to
to a relationship
really
with
anything.
anyone.
Driving on the highway. Those people that cut you off, let me tell you, they didn't get up in the morning and they say, I'm going to go and cut you off.
No.
The ones that are cutting you off, they're probably in the D quadrant. They're going so fast and they've got someplace to go. You might fall into the reserved, slow pace, kind of steadfast, you know, and you're just kind of on the route to a place that they want to go. So next time that happens to you, just don't try and take it personally.
Because it's not personal.
No, it's not.
No. So thank you for joining us on the show. And I do not want to be remiss in mentioning an amazing property that would be available. It is for anyone of any personality style. And yet somebody that leads with C will love it. It's not a brand new home, and yet it's better than a brand new home because every detail in the house is precise, perfect. The paint, there's no nail holes in the walls. I wasn't even allowed to put artwork up. So the home is actually vacant, and it shows better than new construction because the homeowners have gone through and made everything perfect. It's in the Embrun area. It's only $300,000. So, I mean, it's in a price point that is really doable for a lot of people. And it would be a great place to start your family or a great retirement type property or semi-retirement because it's a bungalow. And the appliances in it, which is the shocker of it all and just sort of gives you a picture of how precise and perfect this property is, they are turquoise.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
I have to go check this home out for
You
sure.
do. And when I saw the turquoise appliances, I said, where did you get retro appliances? Because they are pristine. And even the flour, salt, pepper, sugar containers are on the counter, the same color. The fridge,
So
the
this
stove.
is going to really suit the C and the I personality.
Well, that's true. And then when I looked inside the stove, and it looks like it's never been used. Like they just bought them as models to go in the house, I thought, till I asked the question. No, they bought them in the 50s.
Oh, wonderful.
And they have lived with them since.
Wow.
So if you're looking for a perfect house, I have it. You want to phone me. So you can reach me at 613-860-4663 for that home and homes that suit every personality style for sure. And if you'd like to learn more about it, do connect with us so we can get you to attend one of our workshops that are coming up on November 16th in the afternoon from 1 to 4 with Dr. Robert Rome. And you can check out his website at personalityinsights.com. And also for Laura, how would they connect with you, Laura, if they would like you to facilitate a workshop locally?
Anyone can email me at laura@laurabooker.com.
Laura@laurabooker.com. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again next time on the Inside Track on Real Estate.
What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you.